Hello, I'm Chris Rose with Handgun Hunting Afield. Today we're going to go over the guns, ammunition, and optics I used in Wyoming for 2025. Give you a little bit of the details of the hunt. But say if you're looking for more details past the day, you can always read all the articles at handgunhuntingafield.blog. But without wasting too much more time, let's jump right into it here. Let's go right into the hunts. And stand by for at the end because we're going to go over some exciting new announcements on what we got coming in the future. The first hunt I had was south of town here, a Wyoming buck antelope, using the brand new Spore 44 Magnum revolver. This was sent to me for accuracy testing and handgun hunting and stuff for this season. And it performed well. You can see the accuracy groups, which you can also read about on the blog, and I'll post some up here above me. This thing shoots phenomenal. It is a true sub 1 inch at 50 yards with a revolver. So under an inch at 50 with a red dot sight. If I use the magnified optic, I'd say I could probably hold that inch at 100 yards. But for handgun hunting on big game, I don't see an advantage to magnified optics over red dots. I feel these do everything I need them to do. So how is the gun set up here for my hunting this season? Once again, it's a Spore 44 Magnum 6.5 inch barrel. Nil grips. These are the match grips here. They're the taller ones, so they extend below the hand, so you have something to support on when you go prone. Alchin optics base. It's a Smith & Wesson base. It goes right on here. Then I have the Ultra Dot Prime reflex sight. Why the Ultra Dot? Well, most red dot sights are made for the target focus shooting, where you're staring at the target, and when that dot slices across what you're trying to hit, you're pressing the trigger. That's great for defensive shooting, the shoot and move competitions, all that stuff. But when we're getting to accuracy, we have to go back to the fundamentals of marksmanship, and we have to focus on the sight, the reticle, or in this case, the dot, and we're placing that over the target and pressing the trigger then, trying to shoot more precise groups or more precision for accuracy. And that's important to have clear glass. Ultra Dot has the clearest glass in the dot industry. It's what they're known for. This sight's worked well. It's held up to the recoil. It's done everything it's supposed to do. And this dot has been on a pile of guns, and that makes it a test to its toughness there. If an optic can handle being mounted and remounted, it's a lot tougher than some other ones out there. But so going forward, the hunt there, once again, a test for the red dot sight here. It was early morning sunrise. We were able to go low enough in brightness then I could engage the antelope. It was just 50 yards. I shot it in the standing. The antelope was actually moving. I held my lead. I struck the antelope in front of the shoulder. It exited behind the offside shoulder. It was slightly quartering towards me. Using the cutting edge 200 grain handgun Raptor. It's a hollow point fracturing bullet. Fracturing technology works amazing. Once again, lots of articles on the blog explaining how fracturing works. Instant bang flop on the ground. It means fell to the ground and died. Worked extremely well. There's not much else more to throw in there. The whole combination worked well. The next hunt was a doe antelope, farther south of town, a couple hours south. This was just under 400 yards, shot and prone off the pack. I used the SSK 50 with the 309 JDJ barrel. 309 JDJ is basically 308 Winchester in a contender. About the same kind of performance as 308 Winchester, using a 150 grain cutting edge bullet with their new fracture control groove. This barrel is set up where I put a bastard brake on the front, cuts out virtually all the recoil, using a 1:5 VX3 with CDS turret. Just under 400 yards. Once again, instant bang flop, prone off the pack, worked phenomenal. I can't say enough about fracturing bullets and the way they kill game. This gun also has Tony's stocks on here. Tony's stocks work wonderful. He actually fits them to your hand. Can't say enough good about those. All right, so on to the next hunt was actually my wife's hunt. She was using the Spore 357 Magnum. All right, so it's the smaller cousin here to the 44 in frame size, L frame, in frame. All right, once again, set up basically the same, nil grips. This one has an EGW base made for an S&W. Then it's run the Ultra Dot Match Dot 2. The Match Dot, though it's larger than the Reflex, it has a few more features then. Same clear glass. It has a bullet drop turret on top, so you can dial your drops. You can also select different reticles and dot sizes. So it gives you some advantages there. The tube sight design versus Reflex. This gives you a wider field of view, okay? Tubes tunnel you down on the target, so when you start focusing, you're more dialed into the target. Really popular in like bullseye shooting, action pistol. And then for handgun hunters as well, once again, it gives you that scope effect, focusing you down on the target. Worked really well. 140 grain cutting edge bullet. Once again, a true bang flop. It's her first revolver antelope for her. 80 yards shot in the prone and just dropped straight down. Dead right there. All right. So next up, back to the 44 for me. I'm mule deer hunting in a draw-only zone. I was shooting into the rising sun after a long stalk to get on this deer. That just really tests the red dot. When you're looking with a red dot like so towards the sun, the rising sun was behind the deer. The deer is actually completely black. That's because the sun was directly behind him. But when you're looking like that into the sun with a red dot sight, a lot of them, it'll reflect back off the emitter area where the red dot comes out of, and it'll scatter up multiple dots back on the screen. We didn't have that happen with ultra dot. It was great. I had just a single dot. It was clear. I was able to go bright enough to see with all that light and still have a good crisp dot on the target. Worked phenomenal. So we had no double dot. That's the big failing point of shooting into the sun. It's clear so I can stay focused. Once again, just under 100 yards, shot in the prone off my pack, bang flop on that deer. Exceptional performance for, once again, cutting edge bullets and the red dot sight, and as well as Spore, as we've come to expect. Lastly, I went on to my elk hunt. I just had a spike cow calf tag. I just went ahead and took the first legal animal. We're looking for a freezer stuffer. Used this gun here. You've seen this a lot if you followed hanghuntingfield.blog for years. I built this as the owner of Bayside Custom Gunworks several years ago. It's taken literally a semi-truck full of game. This is an XP100 and a McMillan stock. It's all trued up. McGowan barrel, Holland brake, 6.5 284. 1 to 5 VX5 HD with, once again, a CDS turret. This gun is super accurate, shoots really well, really precise, and it extends the range about double of what the 309 is. This thing right here is just so much more accurate. This is a true half inch at 100 yards all day long kind of gun. I mean, the contender's closer to an MOA gun. In this gun, the contender would have maxed out, say, 350 on the elk. This would max out around 650, 750, depending on the circumstances, the wind, and all that stuff. I say really well-known gun if you followed me online for any period of time and all the animals this has taken. Just at 300 yards, the 140 cutting-edge bullet, 6.5 284, bang flop. Bang flop for an elk's a little different than what I explained with like the deer and stuff. They fell straight down when they got shot. An elk, they sometimes do the dead elk standing. Is so much more blood they have to lose. Unless you do a central nervous shot on them, they kind of stagger about for a minute, and then they fall over. She wandered about 30 yards and collapsed. But you could obviously tell she was done, the way she was reacting. So one of the big questions I still constantly get is, why did I go Spore over Smith & Wesson? Well, I built custom Smiths for years. I could go right back out in the shop and build a custom Smith now. But I could buy this right out of the box and go run it. If I had to pay for that work, this costs about the same as me paying for a custom double-action revolver to be built. Kind of like the same idea for the people that buy Magnum Research or they buy Freedom Arms revolvers in the single-action world. You could go buy a Ruger and do all that stuff to it and come out with close to the same gun, but it still won't be the same. This is the same thing. You could kind of tune up your Smith & Wesson like this. It won't be the same. This starts as bar stock. It's made completely true. If you know anything about building double-action revolvers, you know we actually have to physically bend the yoke or crane here, whatever word you want to use for it. We have to physically bend this to get it to be in line. How long is that going to stay with Magnum recoil and Magnum vibration on a gun? How long is it going to stay true? Probably not that long. This is made true. It's made out of a piece of bar stock and cut straight to where it doesn't need all that stuff. Superbly accurate firearms. To be getting half-inch and inch groups out of these things, like I've posted about in those blogs and stuff, that says a lot. That's not something you see every day out of a revolver. The quality here is phenomenal, and the price point is actually very good when you compare them to building custom handguns. So what do we have going forward? What's the big announcement? Precision Shooting Supply has started. I can't link it here, but the website's still under development, but it's Precision Shooting SUP, S-U-P-P, the abbreviation for supply.com. Will start selling Spore revolvers from Germany and STP 1911s, 2011s from Germany. We're going to become the importer for these firearms in the United States. I wouldn't do that for just any company. I only do it for companies that I stand behind. Any product you see me sell or represent is stuff I actually stand behind. I'm not out here pushing every product you see like some gun writers do and other personalities. I push what I know works. If it works, I'm going to push it along. I've been pushing ultra dot for close to 20 years in the gun industry. I've been using Leopold scopes on my handguns for a long time. I've been using the cutting edge bullets for over 5. And they just work phenomenal. And now Spore for 2 years, I think, since I got started with them, they work phenomenal. You can go through the blog and see the guns I've used in the past and where I've come from and how I ended up here. These are some of the best things going. And I want to see their market grow in the U.S. and I want us to do great things here in the States with them because they're a gun that we need in the United States. And that goes for STP as well. I plan to be shooting STP a whole lot more competition this year, and that's another gun that we need to see take off here because it smokes a lot of our competition. So give us a like and subscribe, follow along. Precision Shooting Supply LLC on Facebook. You can get on there. You can get on our new website and follow along, huntingafield.blog. Read all the articles from myself and the other writers. Lots of information out there. Look forward to bringing you more great content.